Good day. Someone told me that you're a friend of Jonas's, the young cabin boy who's gone missing.
That's right, yeah. Are you looking for him?
Yes. Your captain asked me to go and find him.
Happy to hear he's taken the disappearance seriously. What can I do for you?
When did you last see him?
2 days ago, in the evening. We went to have a drink in the tavern. Jonas, Lauro and myself.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary? Was he troubled?
Maybe a tad troubled. Like he was somewhere else.
Why would that be? Give me your best guess.
Boy, I haven't the faintest idea.
What does Jonas do in his free time, when you're on land?
He just hangs around here or there. You know the cabin boys don't have half a sailor's wages. And when evening comes, we usually go down the tavern with good old Lauro.
Did he ever have one too many?
Never. He sips his pint like it was bad medicine. One drink lasts him the whole night.
Does he know anyone in Serene?
No one, far as I know.
Do you think he could have made himself any enemies?
I wouldn't think that for a moment. Jonas has a good heart and he steers clear of trouble and troublemakers.
I don't know where to start with this. Do you have any idea?
No. Lauro won't stop telling anyone who will lend him an ear that the boy was carried off by thugs.
And you don't believe him?
I like Lauro, don't get me wrong, he's like a brother. But to be honest, he drinks a little more than he should. The itch for a drink gets us all, but to him more than others, and when you drink too much, the imagination wanders. Here, yesterday, it was me who tied one over, and I thought I heard Jonas's voice by the canal. I called back to him, as you guessed, but then nothing. Drink. It blurs the senses.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a damn good navigator, and an excellent leader of men. He knows his craft well, in spite of being so young.
How old is he?
He's not seen his 25th year yet. If he keeps it up, he'll be an admiral one day.
I need to be going. Farewell. Good day, sailor. I've been told that you know the missing cabin boy well. Is that right?
You talking about Jonas? You bet your stars I know him. But like I've been crying to the 9 death winds, he didn't go missing, he was taken.
Were you a witness to the event?
Yes, I was. Even though I'd had a few tumblers in the belly, I hadn't yet lost my head. The other day, in the tavern, I saw him talking to a well-dressed man, surrounded by some other sly ruffians. And then when we left, him and I, Flavia left a little earlier, you understand. Well, those brutes were there, waiting for him. They just up and took him like that. Grabbed his arms and poof, gone. Vanished.
Why didn't you intervene?
I tried to, believe me. But my legs betrayed me. Wavering they were. And I fell into the gutter.
Did you report this to the captain?
Unfortunately not. I know all too well what weight my words carry. Even Flavia treated me like a drunken fool. And the captain? No, not telling him that. I still have some pride left, you get me?
Did Jonas seem troubled to you, the night he disappeared?
Maybe. For sure he wasn't his usual self.
Do you know what was on his mind?
No. No idea.
Why would anyone want to snatch a mere cabin boy?
How would I know? Jonas is a gentle boy who keeps his head down. You think my story is nothing but mist too, don't you?
It's just that I can't imagine a gang of thugs hoping to get a ransom for a cabin boy. Did anyone else see the kidnapping?
There was still a small crowd in the tavern. But outside, I seem to recall that regular being there. We played cards with him from time to time. Kind of fellow who plays from morning to night time to be that skilled. But now and again he comes out. When nature calls, you know. I kind of remember his face being there.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a just man who knows his knots. He's well appreciated by the crew. It's a pity that he hasn't much heart for laughs now and again. Always seems unhappy, our captain.
Thank you, Laura. I need to be going.
Strange story, this is.
Something isn't right here, I can feel it. We need to lift the veil on this. Good day, tavern keeper.
Good day to you. What is your pleasure?
I'm looking for a Naut, a young cabin boy who's been missing roll call for 2 days now.
A Naut, you say? That's not a lot to go on. There are quite a few that come to my tavern.
According to one of his fellows, he would have been taken right here.
A kidnapping. In my establishment. You surely jest. Or at least I hope you do. I would have noticed. That doesn't hold water.
I'm looking for a Naut, a young cabin boy who's...
A Naut, you say? A kid? I would have known anything.
How is business going these days?
It's picking up. We've not seen many new customers, but of late, things are looking better. The Malicor and the neighbouring wars have dampened commerce. The epidemic still rages, but the possibility of finding a cure on that island has given people something to hope for. Now that we have a city there, quite a few seafarers come by to spend their wages.
Has the Malicor really put a damper on your business?
More than a damper. They were soaked. When the sickness began to spread, a wave of panic followed in its wake. People stopped going out of their homes. They were afraid. I was close to closing shop, I tell you. And then, thankfully, the alchemists of the bridge said that you couldn't just catch it like that. People are still distrustful, as is their nature, but they are leaving home again. It's a start. I also lost quite a few regular customers. Dead or too scared to venture back. Oh, but that's nothing new to you. The city would have sunk in the water if not for trade with the new isle.
With all these sailors coming and going, you must have heard some stories about Tirfredi.
Right. Even stories that my heaviest drinkers would have trouble believing. They say that man-trees live there. Dragons and gigantic creatures. Treasure abounds under every rock. And the source of eternal life is hidden somewhere there. Last night, some Nauts even told me they brought back one of those giant beasts into the port. Ah, but you know the kind. If you ask my opinion, the drink was fueling their imaginations.
With all these sailors coming and going, you must have heard some stories about Tir-Fradee.
Right. Even stories that my heaviest drinkers would have trouble believing. They say that man trees live there. Treasure about? Ah, but you know the kind.
I'm looking for my cousin. His name is Constantine. I believe he was intent on celebrating his departure last night.
There was indeed a party here last night, but it ended badly.
Whatever do you mean?
A brawl broke out. My tavern was shattered, and no one's paid for the damages.
I'm sorry. Amongst the rebel rousers, did there happen to be a young man? 20 years of age, hair down to his neck, light brown, blue eyes, quite the talker.
I don't believe it. Of course he was there. He's the man that started the fight. I hope you've come to reimburse me. Don't count on me to help you if that's not the case.
What kind of damage are we talking about exactly?
A good half of my furniture was broken into firewood. I piled up the lot over there.
Let me take a look. Perhaps it can be repaired.
If you can fix it, I'll be obliged. If not, you'll need to pay.
That's not a small sum. I need to think about my options.
Oh, the father has forgotten to give his son his allowance, it would seem.
I need to be off. Farewell.
Goodbye.
The furniture is in terrible condition. The fight must have been extremely violent.
It looks as if it's fixable. I've seen worse. We'll need to build some metal dowels, but once done, we can make them like new.
Who are you? I don't recognize you. Am I in your debt?
No. Have no fear about that. It's for a different reason that I am here. I'm looking for a Naut that disappeared 2 days ago, after visiting this establishment. A young cabin boy. 2 members of his crew accompanied him.
Yes, that does ring a bell. I've played with the 3 of them.
What can you tell me about the boy? How was he that night?
He seemed rather nervous, as if he was worried about something. Didn't feel like playing, that I remember. And he must have been right to be nervous, if he's disappeared.
Tell me what happened that evening.
A rich merchant came in, with a band of strong arms. The kind of men you can round up for a few coins, if you catch my drift. They exchanged words with the cabin boy. The kid was defensive, not sitting pretty. And then they finally left.
And after that?
It just so happens that I did go out for a breather. I needed some fresh air. And I think I might well have seen those same men grab him. But that was none of my business. I wouldn't have thought that they were kidnapping him, if that's what it was. They weren't particularly rough with him.
Who was the rich merchant, do you think? A jilted lover? A moneylender?
No, sir. You are in luck. It so happens that I know the man. It was Sir Fontaine, that merchant.
Where can I find him?
He has a house in the wealthy boroughs, just off the canal. A stone's throw from the Theleme embassy.
Thank you. You've been immensely helpful.
This man is completely owned by his love for the game. Do you think we can trust him?
What would he gain from lying?
I have no idea. But what would any wealthy merchant gain from holding a penniless child?
Your time is precious in these dark hours, but what you're about to discover could save your life.
Might I help you, sir?
I would like to have a word with Sir Fontaine.
He is absent, but the lady of the house could certainly receive you. Enter, please.
Oh, I know you. I've seen you at court. You are Lord DeSardet. And to what do I owe the honor of your visit, Excellency?
I would like to have a word with your husband.
He is not here, but perhaps I could be of help.
It concerns a delicate matter. We're looking for a missing cabin boy. According to witnesses, he had an argument with your husband before being taken.
I see. I am afraid that you have been misled. You seem to have come to the wrong conclusion. The cabin boy you speak of was not taken. He has simply returned home.
Excuse me, but I'm not sure I understand.
Don't you see, Your Excellency? We got our son back.
I am very surprised. Several witnesses confirmed that your son had a fight with your husband, and that his men escorted him from the tavern using force. If he had joined your husband willingly...
Witnesses? In a tavern? And you choose to believe these drunkards over a respectable family?
These witnesses are all in agreement, and it's their testimonies that have led me to your doorstep.
My son was probably shocked to have found us. My husband and the other men might have simply had to carry him. A gesture that your drunkards must have misunderstood.
What was your son doing on a Naut ship? Why would they have taken him?
It is what they do. Through pacts and contracts, they steal away young children from their mothers.
What are you talking about?
I would have thought that a legate would know these things. But it is true that you are young and inexperienced. It seems that you have been protected from the turpitudes of our own nation and their terrible allies. This horrible, constant ransoming that they put us through. But I will not say another word. You will have no trouble verifying the details now that you know what to look for.
Where might I find your son now?
I cannot say, Excellency. You must understand why. Until the Nauts have set sail, we live in fear they will take him back from us.
This pact? It sounds like some fear-inducing story.
The Nauts wouldn't be the first to recruit through dubious means.
Good day, Excellency.
Sir DeSardet, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I have come to inform you that my cousin Constantine and I are departing for Tirfredi on the hour.
Ah, yes. I did indeed hear talk that you had both received callings of greater stature. Allow me to congratulate you. Were you not named legate of the congregation?
You are correct, Excellency. I thank you.
It is a station of great honor that I am sure you will fill with brio and panache. The Mother Cardinal Cornelia will be enchanted to work with you, and your cousin in the future. I only regret that your departure is so sudden.
Really?
To be entirely honest with you, I was hoping to solicit your help in a rather delicate matter.
Tell me more about it, and perhaps I can take care of your problem before my departure.
Very well. A small group of dangerous heretics has found refuge in Serene. We know that your uncle tolerates the presence of all pagans within the city walls. But these particular non-believers threaten the fragile harmony of this place.
We would consider it a tremendous favor if you would arrest them and deliver them to our guard.
Heresy is not a crime in Serene. You do know that. But I'm sure my uncle would hear your arguments. Why call on my intervention?
The Prince would indeed give us his blessing, but it would take time. Far too much time. For according to our sources, these fugitives have already made contact with a smuggler to take them who knows where.
I see. You're hoping that I'll be able to do something before they make it to an enemy city. If your heretics are planning on boarding a ship, then they must be in the dockyards. I'll look into this and see what I can do. Could you tell me anything about Thélème?
It would be a pleasure. As you already know, our glorious nation is guided by our faith. We follow the teachings of Matthias, our founder and greatest prophet, and give thanks each day to the Luminous for having gifted us magic. The high dignitaries of Thélème are at the same time our spiritual guides, advocates, and grand mages.
I've heard say that dissensions have appeared recently in your nation.
Ah, you must certainly be speaking about the debates that have divided the Ordo Luminous and the more political orders. The Lord Luminous has an extremely pure vision of our faith and applies the words of our saint very strictly. But other, more open-minded factions exist within our nation. They believe that a less rigid dialectic would attract souls more readily to our faith. But their differences are purely theoretical and do not threaten the cohesion of our nation, I assure you.
What's your point of view on the relations between our two nations?
As ambassador of Thélème, I can only rejoice at the mention of our commercial treaties. We appreciate as well the welcome that your uncle gave to our missionaries. Thanks to your support, more and more believers wander your lands. The congregation is our most precious ally. To be perfectly honest, we have only two complaints. That heresy is tolerated, and that your treaties with the Bridge Alliance are maintained.
How is Thélème faring on Teofredi?
We built a marvelous city, San Matthias, on the western coast of the island. Did you know that certain historians believe that it might well have been the final resting place of our prophet? Our missionaries there are a multitude. Not a day passes without new islanders joining our sacred faith. Of course, there are certain pockets of resistance. There is talk of a demonic cult, disgusting creatures. But I am confident that the Ordo Luminous will be able to put an end to these horrors. And we have tremendous hopes that the entire native population will join our ranks.
How goes the conflict with the Bridge Alliance?
Your territory is, alas, the only one that has been spared from the ravages of war on the continent. We fight on every front. Without great success, one must say. But what other choice do we have? These so-called savants not only refuse the light, but are determined in their fight against it.
And on Teofredi?
To my knowledge, no one has yet seen any serious fighting. The Bridge have succeeded in provoking the natives there, and have their hands full keeping them at bay. Which leaves us greater latitude to settle peacefully and pursue our mission of conversion.
I must be going. Farewell, Excellency.
May the light guide you, DeSardet.
Your Excellency.
Lord DeSardet, I have been told that you were named legate. Congratulations. Those are great responsibilities for someone as young as yourself. But you will bring honor upon your family and the congregation. Of that I'm certain.
I thank you, Excellency. I've come here to inform you of our departure for Teofredi. My cousin Constantine is about to take up office as governor of New Serene, and I'm accompanying him.
I had no idea you would be leaving so quickly. What a shame. I had thought... Well, then, that is a pity. Have a pleasant voyage. A brilliant future awaits you. They say that it is a marvelous island. Please convey to your cousin my congratulations and sincere wishes for success.
You seem slightly hesitant. Please, tell me what troubles you.
A rather unscrupulous individual has been sowing trouble in Serene. A charlatan passing himself off as an alchemist.
Do people actually give credence to these lies?
Alas, yes. They snatch up his celebrated panacea. Remedies worse than the ill, believe me. As you can well imagine, alchemists are our pride. This vulgar trickster casts dirt upon their reputation and our own at the same time. In any city of the Bridge Alliance, we would have arrested him. But here, we respect your laws.
I shall see what I can do, but make no promises. My departure is imminent.
I thank you, Excellency. And I am pleased to see you have taken so well to your new functions of diplomacy. The man operates in the city center. He is said to be clever and mean. Be careful.
Would you be so kind as to tell me what you know about the Bridge Alliance?
With pleasure. A legate needs to know the history and strengths of his allies. The alliance was sealed by several nations of the Bridge around 200 years ago. The greatest of our cities, Al-Saad, became the capital, and a council formed from the different nations now rules. This union was originally put into place to better resist the appetites for conquering our neighbors. But our ancestors quickly realized that the union had also strengthened us economically and culturally. And of course, exchanges in knowledge were strongly encouraged from the outset. Today, it is by no means an overstatement to claim that the Bridge Alliance leads our world in science and exploration. Each day, we push the limits of our understanding further in each and every domain.
Could you give me your understanding of the relations between the congregation and the Bridge?
Our relations hang essentially on the quality of our trade and commerce. The exchanges are very profitable, especially on the cultural front. I will not hide from you that we have hoped you would join our number for quite some time. But your princes insist on maintaining a neutral stance between the congregation and the other nations on the continent. It is by all means a respectable position, even if it means you also trade with our enemies.
The Bridge Alliance has been on Teofredi for much longer than we have. What can you tell me?
It is true that we founded Hikmet, our newest city, around 15 years ago now. Alas, I haven't been able to go there myself. I can only tell you what others have reported to me. It is a luxurious island. An enormous dead volcano thrones in its center. The vegetation is extremely varied, and the fauna wondrous. We discovered animals that we had never ever seen before. Some are bigger than houses. But they're not the only occupants of the island. A savage and crude people also live there, who speak an incomprehensible language. But you shall discover all of this for yourself soon enough.
And what of your war with Ptolemy?
It has been dragging on. In fact, it has been dragging on for years. It is madness. If those bigots hadn't gotten it in their heads to convert the entire continent, we wouldn't be in this situation. But that's the way of the world. We shall not waver, whether here or on Teofredi.
Have you been fighting battles there as well?
From what I've been told, Teleme has wisely and tastefully built their colony far from our city. Direct conflicts are, in fact, quite rare. But one day they will inevitably take place.
I need to be going. Goodbye, Excellency.
Goodbye, Lord DeSardet.
Whatever you need to be. Celebrate the miracle of science. You won't believe your eyes. Citizens, I present to you Panacea, the absolute cure of everything. Toothache, stomach ailment, and even an open wound. This potion heals all of that. And more still. This little phial is the product of years of research and intensive labor. I hear you asking if this remedy can heal one from the Malachor. Alas, not yet. But your question is legitimate. I am so close to finding the cure. But the Malachor isn't the only ailment causing you to suffer. Not true? Then don't miss out on this chance and give yourself a healthy and energized life. Rejoice! A phial only costs a few coins, and well worth it to make your life shiny and new again.
Does it really heal everything, your potion?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Except the Malachor, of course. That being said, it is known that those in top health resist the Malachor best of all. Then don't throw away this chance. Think of all the pains that this potion could help you avoid.
You are right. It's a deal. I'm gonna take two.
There's a man that knows a good deal when he sees one. Hurry now. There won't be enough for everyone.
There he is. He's our man, no doubt.
His speech is well polished. I even feel like buying some.
And if we had a word with him? I wonder if he'll serve us the same routine.
Ah, you're finally tempted.
In all honesty, I haven't made up my mind yet. I want to be certain that I'm not dealing with a charlatan.
In this day and age, I can't blame you. What might I do to convince you?
Are there any nasty side effects with this remedy of yours?
There are none. You will feel nothing but an intense sense of well-being.
Will you drink one of your potions to prove your good faith?
Of course. I take a little sip every morning. But as I'm in perfect health, you won't be able to verify the improvement in my condition. But if it helps you make up your mind, give me just a moment. There now. As you see, I am still in excellent condition.
Come on now, I swear you take that vial out of your pocket. Nothing proves that it's the same potion that you sell to your clients.
As a man of science, I consider skepticism a remarkable quality. But in your case, it is not skepticism, but blindness.
We need to steal one of these potions and force him to drink it.
Brilliant idea, Kurt. Let's take a look at his cart.
to my help, and death to the others! Things are about to get dicey. They broke your armor. Be careful.
Have you finally made up your mind?
I happen to have a vial of your medicine. Would you be willing to drink it in front of us? To prove that there is no risk?
This bullying is trying my patience. I'm beginning to suspect that you might be working for a rival.
You refuse to taste it?
You might have put something in it to cause me harm or further disgrace.
No, look. The vial is still sealed. It comes straight from your stock.
And you dare challenge me when you have just admitted to being a thief?
Come now. You can see for yourself that I'm gladly returning your vial, so that you might drink it in front of witnesses. This might help to dissipate my doubts, as well as those of these brave folk.
Yes, no, you don't have the right.
Damnation. He got away. He can't have gone far.
Find him before his head ends up on a spike.
Think back to the note that we found. We need to take a look at the tavern. He won't leave the city without his belongings.
You again? What are you doing in my room?
I'm not the only one that has found you. Have you seen the mob that is gathering in the street?
I'm neither deaf nor blind. By the spheres. Why didn't I leave the city while there was still time?
The Alliance ambassador is quite unsettled by your commerce, and he is the one who sent me.
Sahin? Him again. Ruining my career wasn't enough for him. He's the very reason I had to leave the Alliance. And here I am, playing the part of the potion maker. Me, who was once a respected member of the Academy of Al-Sad.
Dr. Sahin warned me that you were an imposter.
That doesn't surprise me, coming from him. I was a master alchemist. I understand if you don't believe me after all that, but I have a number of documents to prove it. I would still be one if Sahin hadn't set off a chain of machinations to disgrace me.
Why does Sahin bear you such hatred?
I wasn't fortunate enough to oppose certain great minds of the Academy. To criticize their methodology. I saw them inflicting torture on sick prisoners, making them drink the most vile poisons. To find a remedy to the Malachor, they won't hesitate to kill. I could not keep my silence.
It is for an act of courage that you fell from grace and earned Sahin's hatred. Are you not ashamed to have poisoned those poor souls?
These potions are not harmful. That is to say that they don't contain any harmful ingredients.
But you could just as easily produce real healing potions. So why don't you?
You don't understand. I fled, but I haven't put a stop to my own research. This potion is an attempt to create in those who drink it a resistance to the Malachor.
So you manipulate people to use as experimental fodder? That is completely unethical.
I don't have a choice, but it does not harm them, I assure you.
If this potion were inoffensive, then why wouldn't you drink it when I offered it to you?
I ran tests on myself for such a long time that I ended up becoming intolerant to it. A small sip of this mixture provokes in me now a violent reaction. I mean, the mob would have been furious in any case, but a normal dose, I assure you, is without risk.
Your methods don't seem so different than those of your colleagues.
I don't torture people. And this potion only has side effects in high doses.
Perhaps, but you're hurting innocents. I cannot let your commerce continue.
So, what are you going to do with me, sir?
I'm sorry, but I don't trust you. I'm going to deliver you to Dr. Sahin.
Sir, I beg you to spare me.
I've heard enough. You're under arrest.
How unjust.
I don't have the key.
Well then, were you able to repair it all?
No, I haven't been able to sort them out.
In that case, you need to pay me, sir.
Here you are, to cover your expenses.
Excellent. Honest books makes for honest friendships. Your cousin is either a very bad joker or a right good fool. He went and insulted a band of ruffians from the lower boroughs. Dangerous fellows. They've a storehouse they operate out of a few streets from here.
What kind of business do they run?
Several, actually, and they're all illegal and profitable. But you didn't hear that from me. In any case, if you were set on recovering your cousin, I would hurry if I were you. They're not the tender sorts.
Thank you for the information.
Off with ya. Get him out of whatever mess he's got himself into. Seemed like a courageous fellow. Who could down his pint. Anything else?
I need to be off. Farewell.
Goodbye.
I could repair this if I had some metal dowels. Your Excellency,
Lord DeSardet.
I tracked down your man near the coin guard barracks.
Finally. Did you capture him?
Let's just say I put an end to his activities. His reputation in Serene is forever tarnished. Matters turned out a little more complicated than anticipated. He is hiding in a room in the Coin Guard Tavern.
Why didn't you have him arrested?
Angry citizens have gathered round the building. They have sworn to avenge themselves after discovering his fraud. I decided it better to avoid the mob. But if you wish to capture him alive, I advise you hurry.
Governor Buren will be happy to learn that a legate with great assiduity will soon be joining the island of Tir-Fredi. Thank you for your help, Excellency, and allow me to offer you this modest present for your voyage.
I need to be going. Goodbye, Excellency.
Goodbye, Lord DeSardet.
Sire, I'm sorry. I'm afraid that I won't make for good company.
Greetings, Your Excellency.
I believe I've seen you at the palace. Are you one of the prince's relatives?
Oh, hello, Your Excellency. It is an honor.
Sir, you still haven't found your cousin. As you well know, we cannot leave without him.
Have no fear. I will bring him back in time to make our scheduled departure. Is everything ready?
I'm still without news of my cabin boy, but we will have to do without.
I spoke with a woman who told me she was the mother of the cabin boy. She claims that her son was taken from her.
Taken? Her son is sea-gifted. His parents were required to give him up to honor the terms of a contract.
A contract? But what kind of contract are we speaking of?
A commercial contract. In exchange for services rendered by the Nords, some families cede more than gold. In some cases, nations even trade some of their subjects before they're born. I wouldn't be able to tell you the condition of Jonas's contract. I didn't even know he was originally from Serene. But what I can tell you is the young man hasn't seen his parents since he was a small child. And ever since, he's been a Nord. Our ships are his home. We are his only family.
Have you seen anyone wandering about? Suspicious looking. Maybe clandestine passengers?
Take a look around. There are far too many comings and goings to spot possible stowaways. As long as they don't try and get on my ship, I pay no attention to them. That said, we did catch ourselves a smuggler just a while ago.
A smuggler? Maybe he could be of some use. Where could I find him?
In the port jails, not far from the warehouses. May I ask you, why the sudden interest in smugglers and the odd stowaway?
Nothing to bother yourself about. I'm just curious.
You wouldn't, by the sheerest of coincidences, be on the trail of a couple of heretics, Your Excellency. The same a couple of the ambassadors of Teleme's men have been looking for nigh on 2 days.
And so you know about that?
Of course. The Cardinal's henchmen are hard to miss, even in a crowd. And they were making quite a fuss, hoping we would cave in and help them in their hunt. Feel free to carry out your own investigation, but you'll end up with the same answers. The port brigs, just like the warehouses, are property of the Nords. No one else may enter.
Be back soon, Captain.
You see anyone else who might be able to help us? Anyone who's not a Nort?
Sir de Corsillion's a veritable well of scientific knowledge. He could tell us a little more.
I still don't see Constantine at your side. I hope he hasn't been the victim of any foul play.
Don't worry. We'll find him in time for departure.
I certainly hope so. Would you be in need of my help in any way?
I've had a word with Lady Fontaine. You must know her. That rich family that lives near the docks. She told me a strange story about her son who was a cabin boy on our ship. She said that he was taken when he was a child due to some contract with the Nords.
Who was a cabin boy? Do you mean he's no longer one?
They took him back to bring him home.
Well, that is very unpleasant news, DeSardet. We need to do all we can to bring the boy back to his ship. Since time immemorial, there's always been a certain price to pay for the services of the Nords. Children born on their ships belong to them. It's the rule of the sea. But certain contracts are so important that they also require children to be offered in exchange. From time to time, the congregation has passed such accord, and certain noble families had to give their children up.
Are you telling me that the Fontaines lost their son because of some agreement signed between my uncle and the Nords?
No. That pact ended a long time ago. This cabin boy couldn't have been a part of that contract. But Sir Fontaine has made a fortune trading with the Alliance, via ships.
Do you mean he would have offered up his own son in exchange for wealth?
Well, he probably did it before the birth of the child, and regretted it afterwards. But that is of little importance. What counts most is that you bring the boy back to the Nords as quickly as possible. Breaking a contract with the seafarers has always cost us dearly. Our nation could feel it in its coffers.
I will do my best.
A father selling his own son for a few boat rides. For ugly, that is ugly.
Lady Fontaine didn't seem to have any knowledge of that detail. That could be of use to us.
I heard the discourse of this priest on the main square. He says that the Malicor is a punishment from the Enlightened. What did we do to deserve such retribution?
If you had any idea who I am... Open up, imbeciles! I have a ship to catch!
That vulture of a tavern master was right. It is Constantine's voice. It's coming from the floor above.
It sounds as if he's locked up.
And I have a feeling they're expecting company. Be careful. The slightest itchy word to these brutes will have them drawing blades to scratch it.
Negotiation may be the solution. As you say, this breed of brutes won't spit on ransom money.
What a waste. I'd rather sneak around them than give half a coin to these seedy fellows.